wherever you are.
Gary, I think you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
I like you muted better.
Yeah, I figured that. We take a vote.
This is worse.
That nickname was hung on me by Mike Spann back in high school because he strangely said I resembled a moose going up and down the basketball court. I'm happy to be part of this virtual reunion. I look forward to hopefully seeing all of us together non-virtually in the real flesh sometime soon, after we as a country and a world deal with this incredible pandemic. Let me immediately ask Bob Dunham, one of our classmates, to have the invocation for our virtual reunion. Bob?
Thanks, Gary. Good to be with you, friends. Let us join together in prayer. God of light and liberty, God of gravity and grace, holy is your name. We gather this night uncommonly distanced, yet grateful to be together. We're fortified by mostly blessed memories of shared experiences so many years ago, and by friendships valued and nurtured across the years. And so for one another, we give you thanks. We're mindful too of those dear ones we have lost along the way, whom we will name again later tonight. And so we find ourselves bound together also by shared sadness and by intimations of our own mortality. Thus now in the time allotted to us, we who remain commit ourselves once again to one another and to the values and humane instincts the college sought to foster in us, instincts to live honorably and to speak truthfully, to do justice and love kindness and walk humbly.
Hello.
Hello.
To a common good beyond our personal advantage,
You stiff?
and to pursue lives of leadership and faithful service, even now at or near the end of our working days. And so we come, Holy One, in deep gratitude and with earnest hope. Meet us now in this time, we humbly pray, and lend us your light. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Bob. It's my pleasure next to introduce to all of you somebody who really doesn't need an introduction. President Carol Quillen of the college. Carol joined Davidson in 2011, and from that time has ably led the development of new physical facilities on
Started, but
somebody there talking. Innovative partnerships and initiatives, all of which have further developed the students' leadership, integrity, curiosity, and empathy, certainly qualities that we are desperately needing in today's world. 2020 has brought many new challenges to her role as president, and she has led the college to and through a fall semester during the COVID pandemic. We're pleased to have her join our reunion virtual gathering. Please help me welcome President Quillen.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Gary. I'm so grateful to be able to be here with you all. It's a hard time, and it's nice to see so many Davidson faces, and I'm so excited that you are able to gather even in this imperfect way. It's great to see so many people here and committed to building these connections at this really hard time. I know this is the great class of 1970. I want to honor the greatness of this class and appreciate your willingness to let me kind of crash your reunion. I don't know exactly how I can be most helpful to you. I thought what I would do is talk a little bit about what's going on campus and give you a sense of kind of, what it's like for our students who are here and how we've been thinking about this very, very challenging year for a number of reasons. And then, maybe just a few thoughts about some other things. But basically, as you know, since March, we've been struggling with this global pandemic, we made the decision over the summer to reconvene on campus. And I think, a lot of people say to me, well, Carol, how did you think about the question, should we open or should we not open? And that really wasn't the question we asked ourselves here at Davidson. The question we asked at Davidson was, we have a very, very clear primary purpose to assist students in developing humane instincts and disciplined and creative minds for lives of leadership and service. How do we do that now in the conditions in which we find ourselves? How do we continue to honor our mission and our calling as a college in these circumstances? And that question led us to a kind of humility, we don't know what's going to happen, and to trying to honor the particular circumstances of each member of the Davidson community, faculty, staff, and students. So we said, all right, let's try to be as flexible as possible. Students, you can live on campus if you want to. You can, and we'll make it as safe as we possibly can. We recognize that for many of our students, Davidson is the safest and sometimes the only place for them to be. So we wanted to be available to them to provide that kind of security. You can live close by, but not on campus. For some of our students, that was the best choice. Or you can stay home or elsewhere and study remotely. That put an incredible burden on our faculty and staff to make the campus as safe as possible for residential students, to prepare a curriculum that could be taken both in person or remotely, and to redesign spaces so that we were mindful of everyone's safety, particularly our most vulnerable population, which in many cases are staff and faculty. So thanks to the incredible work of a whole bunch of people, we're kind of getting close to the time when our residential students will depart for Thanksgiving, and we've done fairly well with that. It's been challenging for them. I see them all the time. I live on campus, and our students have, generally speaking, been great. But the question that drove us and all of the decisions that we made was how, under the circumstances of this global pandemic, can Davidson College, can we best fulfill our calling and our mission, honor our obligation to each single student who is in our charge right now, while protecting the safety of our faculty and staff. So we've been testing students once a week, all students, those living on campus and those living close by, every student once a week, athletes twice a week, and now 3 times a week per the NCAA guidelines. That's a very expensive proposition, but I think it's what has allowed us to be able to be together. We're able to identify asymptomatic positive cases of COVID, isolate those students quickly, and thanks be to God, our students who have been COVID positive have generally speaking had very mild symptoms. So the COVID challenge, I think we've managed as well as we could. We've probably had about 30 cases over the course of the semester, maybe a few more than that. It's manageable. Our students have recovered. Many fewer cases among staff and faculty. So I think that's been a blessing for us here at Davidson. We're all missing sports, especially me. You guys know I'm like the biggest Davidson sports fan ever. I really missed fall sports, and I'm looking forward to the opportunity to playing those sports in the spring. Men's and women's basketball is scheduled to start just very soon now, in a few days. So we're looking forward to that and confident in our ability to keep our student athletes safe while enabling them to do this activity that's very important to them. Our theater students this semester got creative and did a drive-by theater presentation. So the actors moved to different sites on campus and the audience followed them in their cars. And this enabled our students to perform live theater while also abiding by the state regulations and keeping our students safe. We've had an outdoor movie night with everyone masked and socially distanced. We've had a number of spike ball tournaments, and I am living proof that you can win at spike ball if your partner, as one of our students, is a nationally ranked player. That guy could win. Like I said, man, you could win with a tree as your partner, which is about how much value I was to him in this spike ball game. So lots of spike ball tournaments, a lot of students sitting in circles outside in front of chambers, talking or playing cards, cornhole, all these activities where students can be together outside in a safe way. Our faculty have redesigned their courses. We've had labs restructured, different kinds of group projects. Students kind of trying to figure out how to work in the community in this remote context. It's been a real learning experience for all of us. We'll all be glad once the vaccine is readily available and we feel like we can return to something resembling normalcy. But I have been really, really lucky to be a part of this community at this very difficult time. On top of that, we've had, it's a very polarized time in our country, and those divisions affect our students. And so this very contentious election, a lot of anxiety and turmoil on campus around that, just has made this a fairly stressful time for young people. And again, so grateful to faculty and staff who've been sources of support for our students as they struggle through this. So things at Davidson on campus are not as we would love them to be, but generally speaking, the community has built strong relationships. Our faculty, staff, and students continue to be really committed to this place. And I'm confident that we've continued to fulfill our mission under these really, really hard circumstances. And that's thanks in large part to the nature of the Davidson community and the strength of that community that you all have built. The ties to Davidson, the support of our alumni community, the generosity of spirit that pervades this campus, that is something that you as Davidson graduates sustained while you were students and continues to sustain now as you live lives of leadership and service that set the example for our students. So they have looked to that alumni community with gratitude and also with hope. That this too, this kind of deep connection and relationships that they too will have that when they graduate from Davidson, and they hope that they can live lives of leadership and service like you guys do, and live up to the example that previous generations of Davidsonians have set for them. So I want to thank you so much for everything that you do for this place, for your support of our students and for one another, but most importantly, for the lives that you lead and the values that you exemplify and the leadership and service that you display for our students so that they understand what it means to live as a Davidson graduate. That has meant so much to them and to all of us on campus at this really hard time. So I know you have a pretty packed agenda, and I don't want to monopolize your time in any way, but I did just want to drop by and say thank you so much for everything, and I hope you all are keeping safe. I hope your families are well, and that I really look forward to a time when we can gather again on this beautiful campus together.
Thank you, President Quillen, for your words. If and when we get together physically, I'm going to suggest that we make you an honorary member of the great class of 1970. I'd like to now introduce to the group Marya Howell. Arya is Director of Alumni and Family Engagement at Davidson. She has a BA in English from Davidson in 1991 and her master's in higher education from Stanford. She has pursued a broad range of engagement and experience in civic engagement, education, outreach programs for several organizations prior to returning to Davidson. Marya credits Jamie May for hiring her right out of Davidson as a fellow in the development office. Please help me welcome Arya to our reunion, and she will also handle the presentation of awards to two of our classmates. Marya?
Sure thing. Hi, and
That's what I'm
thank you
looking
very
for.
much. Let's see if we can all mute ourselves.
Uh-oh.
Marya, you got muted, Marya.
All right, I'm going to unmute myself.
Here we go.
There's still some folks who are unmuted. So if you will look at your picture, find yourself on there, and make sure that you see a microphone that is red with a slash through it at the bottom of your picture, you'll know that you're muted. You can also see it at the bottom of your screen. It will say mute on the left-hand side, and you can click that or unclick it, and that's your mute and unmute. And I know that you all want to be talking to each other and that you will be doing so very, very soon. Thank you so much, Gary, for introducing me. And thank you all so much for inviting me to join the great class of 1970 this evening. I was hoping to become an honorary member of the class, so I'm really bummed to know that you're giving that away to Carol Quillen and not to me. While I'm here to honor two of your classmates, I would like to take a moment for two announcements and a thank you. First, I want to point out that I wish we were all in person today, and I know that several of you have asked about coming to campus this June. Although we've not made an official announcement with the state of the pandemic as it is, I expect that the reunion this June, which would be mine, I must say, will be virtual as well. I do want to let you know that we have heard loud and clear your request to figure out a way to bring this class back when it is safe to do so, to celebrate your 50th in person. That may be your 52nd, but we will get you back to campus when it is safe to do so. More to come. Second, we are pleased to know that you all are enjoying the online version of the Quips and Cranks. While we typically would share a hard copy with you at the on-campus celebration, we are making plans to mail one to each classmate since we don't know when we'll be back together on campus again. We will get you back to campus, but you'll be getting your Quips and Cranks in the mail. And the third is now as to the thank you. Your reunion committee has been ably led by Tom Bersuter and George Penick. They took this job on a year and a half ago, and they never would have imagined that they would still be serving in this role. And so I'm going to ask you, now that you've found your mute buttons, I want you, if you would, join me and unmute yourselves for a minute to give them a round of applause. And then we'll mute you again. So ready, 1, 2, 3, unmute. Yay!
Yeah.
Here, here. Great.
Love and
All right.
beyond.
And now I'm going to ask Judith to mute again, and then got it. All right. Thank you all. We're going to practice. We're going to practice that mute button thing again twice more when we talk tonight. So, and now I have the distinct honor of presenting awards to your classmates, Cooper Brantley and Bruce Wolf. And I'm going to start with Cooper. I'll read the full citation, and then I'll ask Cooper maybe to have someone in your home or you to present yourself with the plaque that you received in the mail earlier this week. And if you wish to make a few remarks at that point, you can unmute yourself and do so. Just a note that we'll be sharing these award recipients through the college's e-newsletter and on social media in threes. So we'll do 3 different people each time through January through March. The citations will also be available on the college's website soon. We can email them out to your classmates following this call. So while I want you to pay attention because they're fantastic, you don't have to memorize it. We'll be getting these to you. So I'm going to start with you, Cooper. Each year, the Board of Directors of the Alumni Association recognizes alumni who have rendered and performed a high degree of service to the college. This year, the Alumni Association Board has selected Cooper Brantley to receive an Alumni Service Award. In the nomination of F. Cooper Brantley for the Alumni Service Award, the nominators said, he's been a passionate advocate for the importance of financial aid, a strong and diverse student population, and the continued presence of a healthy athletics program on campus. This could not be more true. During Cooper's time as a student, he was an English major, like me, a member of Kappa Sigma fraternity, an ROTC commissioned officer, and a member of the football and baseball teams. After graduating from Davidson, Cooper received his JD from UNC Chapel Hill. He retired as a partner with the law firm Nexon Pruitt in Greensboro. Cooper has 4 children, one of whom, Elizabeth Brantley Bastian, graduated from Davidson in 2001. As a dedicated alumnus, Cooper has volunteered for Davidson College as a member of your 20th, 25th, 30th, and 50th reunion planning committees, a Fund for Davidson class agent, a member of the Greensboro Regional Campaign Committee during the campaign for Davidson, member of the Ellington FAG Scholarship Steering Committee, member of the Davidson Athletic Fund Board, member of the Triad Advance Team for the Game Changers campaign. Cooper served as a member of the college's Board of Trustees, where he held positions on the audit and finance, athletics, and protocol committees. And in addition, he served as the trustee liaison to the baseball team. On top of his extensive volunteer service, Cooper has been a generous donor to the college, establishing in 1992 the need-based FC Brantley Scholarship, among many other generous gifts to Davidson in support of athletic programs and facilities. When Cooper retired from the Board of Trustees, his fellow board member, Bob Cordell, who's the class of 1963, said, "Cooper has been and continues to be the kind of student, alumni, parent, and trustee that we all can be proud of. For your dedication to education and excellence, and your faithful generosity to Davidson now and for the future, we honor you, F. Cooper Brantley, during the virtual 50th reunion for the class of 1970 with the Alumni Service Award." And now it's time, unmute yourselves again. Let's give them a round of applause. Yay!
Hey, Cooper.
All right. And so Cooper, if you would like to unmute yourself.
Cooper, I think you're muted.
You can hear me now. Yeah, I didn't want to unmute myself, but I did. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear
Yes,
you.
we can hear you.
Okay. I can't hear anyone else, though. I mean, is there something you want me to do?
Only if you wanted to say a few words. You're welcome to now. You don't have to. You can just say thanks.
Well, I will say thank you. And I'd also like to give a big thanks again to George and Tom and the Davidson staff who worked for a year and a half on this. So it is an amazing job. It's too bad that we couldn't meet in person, but we will. And to all of y'all, a big thanks.
Great. Thank you so much. Did you got your plaque, right?
I did, yes.
You want to hold it up for a second for us, or do you have it nearby or not?
I did. I went and got it. I did have to go get it.
All right. I might get a picture of you with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hang on, keep it holding up. I'm trying to get my phone to work.
Oh, okay.
Got it. Oh, you have, wonderful.
All right, thank you.
Of course. And you all get 2 wonderful award winners. So now I have the honor of honoring Bruce G. Wolf, MD, class of 1970, with the Distinguished Alumni Award that recognizes alumni who provided leadership or attained recognition within their profession since graduation. William Osler, one of the 4 founding physicians of Johns Hopkins Hospital, once wrote, "The practice of medicine is an art, not a trade, a calling, not a business, a calling in which your heart will be exercised equally with your head." Bruce Wolf has long approached his call to the medical profession with both a keen intellect and a nurturing heart. Upon Bruce's graduation from Davidson, he received his MD from Duke University and completed internships with both Duke and Cornell Medical Center in New York, as well as a residency at Cornell. From 1975 to 1977, he was a captain in the United States Army, serving as the brigade surgeon for the 197th Infantry out of Fort Benning, Georgia. In 1982, Bruce joined the surgical staff of the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, where he is currently professor of surgery emeritus, specializing in colon and rectal surgery. He has over 300 publications and has been involved in training hundreds of residents. I would like to have 1 published publication. Bruce's devotion to Davidson has continued throughout the years, including financial support to the wrestling program, the Baker Watt Life Sciences Building, and NAE Ultra Society gifts to the William Holt Terry Scholarship. He also served as a member of the board of advisors of that scholarship, named for his friend, counselor Will Terry, who's known as Uncle Will to the Wolf children. Bruce also assisted Davidson in mentoring a group of undergraduates at the Mayo Clinic under the auspices of the Vann Center for Ethics, nurtured friendships among a group of Davidson alumni living in the Rochester area, and most importantly, shared Charlie, class of 2011, and one of his three treasured children with Davidson. And I know that many of your children are on the call today, and so I hope you all are proud of your dad. Among Bruce's many marks of professional distinction include service as chairman of the Division of Colon and Rectal Surgery at the Mayo Clinic, president of the American Society of Colon and Rectal Surgeons, president of the American Board of Colon and Rectal Surgeons, member of the American Surgical Association, and director of the Titan Medical Board. For the last 5 years, he's served as executive director of the American Board of Colon and Rectal Surgeons, which certifies colon and rectal surgeons in the United States and Canada. Bruce has presented lectures and papers throughout the world, and on occasion has even been convinced to pick up the guitar and banjo once more. I was wishing he would do that for us this evening. Because you've given of yourself fully to the practice of medicine while understanding the importance of family and lifelong friendships, because you have gladly shared your knowledge as a surgeon with generations following in your footsteps, and because you understand that no one can fully repay the kindness of others, but that we are all meant to try. The Davidson College Alumni Association recognizes you, Bruce G. Wolfe, with its Distinguished Alumnus Award upon the occasion of your virtual 50th reunion. And let's try this one last time. We're going to unmute ourselves. We'll cheer and or cheers to Bruce.
Yeah.
Good job, Bruce.
Woo! Great. All right. Bruce, would you like to unmute and say a few words?
I would, Marya. Thank you. I just have a few remarks I wanted to make. I won't take too much time. There are many in this great class of 1970 who deserve this award as much as I. But this is a very special event for me, and I'm extremely grateful. Whatever success I've had, it all started at Davidson. Going to Davidson was a transformative experience for me, as well as I'm sure for a number of you, probably all of you, just as it was later on for my son, Charlie. There was the superb teaching, colorful professors like Max the Axe Polly, Shout and Sam Maloney, Tony Abbott, Nick Burnett, Dr. McGavick, and Dr. Purcell. And then there was Will Terry. I think many of us in the class of 70, and this class meant a lot to Will, were the first Terry scholars, although we didn't have the name or the structure. I dearly wish Will could be here with us today. I can just see him with that impish grin on his face saying, "Well, Wolf, you finally got it right." But most of all, there were the lifelong friendships that were formed. For me, to name just a few, Tom Bersuter, Dan Hurd, George Sproul, Tom Hendren, Bill Berry, Dino Economou, C.L. Cheshire, and George Hannon and George Phoenix. These are still my closest and best friends. And I've been very fortunate to have wonderful family support, my wife, Vicki, and 3 great children. That plus working for 40 years for a venerable institution, the Mayo Clinic, which not only encourages but enables one to overachieve. And there is also the element of their constantly trying to improve patient care in so many ways. So I hope we as the great class of 1970 have given back to Davidson for that investment in us. I thank you most emphatically for this honor, and I hope to see you all face to face soon. That's it?
Thank you so much. Hey, will you hold up the plaque, or have Dickie might present it to you and I can get the picture of you guys together? Perfect. Thank you. Thanks so much. And I'll turn this back over to Gary. Thank you all so much for having me this evening.
Thank you, Marya. I'd like to next introduce our classmate, Tom Norwood, who will handle the unfortunate memorial aspect of this reunion gathering. Tom?
Thank you, Gary. I wanted to ask us all to pray as we begin this time. Let us pray. God, source of light, beyond knowledge and thought, mysterious and profound, we give thanks this day for the lives of our classmates who are no longer with us. We give thanks for your life in them and for your love given and received by them among family and friends. We give thanks that they were such people that our sorrow and sadness now is very real and our loss great. But we are grateful that we were enriched by their presence among us. Help us today to see more clearly into the meaning of their lives and our own, to grasp more firmly the hope that life is longer than our years, and that the love you have shown us in them is stronger than death. As we honor our classmates today, we commit ourselves to live for each other, to make life not only bearable, but joyful and triumphant. Be with us, Lord, here and everywhere. Be present for us now and always. Fulfiller of our past, strength of our present, and promise of our future. Amen. And now we'll be going through the names of our departed classmates. Hugh Basket, Robert Bryan, Mike Bumgarner, John Chalk, Danny Coltrane, Ed Danley, Scott Davis, Bill Gammon, Woody Gleason, Danny Goebel, Bill Horton, Fred James, Robert Johnson, Joe Kilpatrick, Joe Lansinger, Alan Lewis, John Mack, Mike Malloy, Whit Mara, George Moskos, Ed Page, Mike Page, John Riggs, Paul Rothert, Steve Rowland, Charlie Sandlin, Bill Spencer, Tom Stokes, Nelson Sullivan, Tim Swan, John Zaharoff.
Thank you, Tom. Seeing all those guys with a 1948 birth date should give us all pause. Life is what we make of it, and it's not a dress rehearsal. A lot of good memories for those names and faces. I'll now turn it back over to George Peeney. George?
Unmute. George.
Thank you, Gary, and thank you, Tom. It is my hope that everyone has had a chance. Hold on one second. You should always turn off your phone when you get on these things. The Quips and Cranks this year is extraordinary. It was done by Jim Winship and Jim Long, and I just want to take this moment to thank them. What they did is extraordinary. It both recaptures what life was like for us back in the 60s, as well as what we've been doing with our lives ever since then. So I just want to thank you. I cannot express how much hard work they put into it. And as was said earlier, we're very glad that the college has agreed to have the online version printed and mailed to our class. The college went to an awful lot of effort this year to make this special yearbook part of our memories in a way that past reunions have never been able to make possible. In addition to editing the yearbook, the Jims also have worked to introduce a new way for us to continue how to tell our stories to each other. I'm going to turn this over now to Jim Winship, who will tell you briefly about your opportunity to be an ongoing part of our class's continuing alumni conversations. Jim.
Thank you very much. Two quick things before we get to the blogs. One, Jim Long and I are proud of what it's like, and we got lots of kudos from classmates who have been looking through that and what they've seen, and just in terms of the memories. In terms of getting those surveys in, I also want to thank George and Tom, because they did some of the nagging along with us, just encouraging people to write and write some more and then get some photos. And it's interesting because a lot of you are more recognizable now than you would have been a year ago, having seen the photos that came in there. Also with the memorials in the back of the yearbook is a really well done paragraphs about the people who are died. And I think that also is something that brings back memories and in some cases tears. Now, Judith, are you ready to share a screen? What we're hoping to do is to get the screen of the blog. So what we wanted to do was to have more than the chance to write a few lines answering the questions we had put together for the surveys. And so there is the Great Class of 1970 blog. We've sent out a little bit of information. In the information that comes out after this meeting will be this information in terms of how people can get into the blog in order to write about one of 7 questions that we've got that range from what was it like to be going to Davidson in the late 60s when the college and the country were changing so much, to what was it like to be a member or associated with the football team, the basketball team, to be pre-med, junior year abroad, and then some other questions that then relate to just thinking ahead toward the future. The author Joan Didion says, "I don't know what I think about something until I start writing about it." And I think that this is a chance to write, to comment on what other people have written, and then again to keep that conversation going that we're not able to do in person. I want to say the technology is kind of clunky. 4 people tried it out over the weekend. 3 of them were successful. 1 said there were problems getting into it. I think the directions are reasonably good. And if you have trouble, get in touch with me. My email is on that. And I look forward to that conversation. So that's it. George, or Moose, back to you.
George, if you're done, let me turn it over to Tom Bersuter.
Thanks, Gary. It's been my privilege for the last 10 years or so to work with the great class of 1970 to raise money for the Fund for Davidson. There have been changes during those years, but our class participation level has always been one of Davidson's best. We have averaged 81% participation for the last 10 years. This past fiscal year, our 50th reunion year, 150 of our classmates made gifts to the Fund for Davidson. This comes to an 83% participation rate. The next highest reunion year's rate of participation was 74%. So you can see that once again, we led the college. And how does this work out in dollars? Our class gave a total of $591,713 in the last fiscal year to the Fund for Davidson. This is an outstanding total and shows the commitment of our class to the support for Davidson. Another indication of our class's commitment to Davidson is the number of NA Ultra donors in our reunion year. NA Ultra donors give at least $2,500 in a fiscal year, and last year, 44 members of our class made this commitment, up from 26 individuals the previous year. This set a new Davidson College record for NA Ultra donors for a single class. So what was the great class of 1970's class gift for its 50th reunion year? The total class gift includes gifts to the Fund for Davidson, pledges of gifts for the next 5 years, and planned future gifts. Our goal for our total reunion class gift was $1 million. Through your generosity, we totaled $2,821,282, nearly 3 times our goal. As you can see, the great class of 1970 has lived up to its name. And just to get the Fund for Davidson message started for fiscal year 2021, we will be getting in touch with you soon. And we promise that. I'd like to go into a section that we've called Reflections on Davidson. How does our class's generosity reflect our commitment to Davidson? And how has Davidson impacted and influenced our lives? Just a bit of history. Tuition and fees at Davidson when we arrived on campus were $2,140, and we numbered about 1,000 men. Last year, total annual tuition and fees were over $70,000, and there were 2,000 men and women. Needless to say, times have changed. But the mission of Davidson has not changed. Its purpose is to assist students in developing humane instincts and disciplined and creative minds for lives of leadership and service. People often marvel at our class's enduring friendships and cohesiveness. What makes our class different? Why have the relationships we have with each other lasted for more than 50 years? What is it about Davidson that makes it special? Well, if you have to ask, I can't tell you. You sort of had to be there. Why has our class had 8 members of the Board of Trustees? Why has our class had a half dozen or so long-term members of the Davidson? Why has our class been active in the Alumni Association and the Board of Visitors and other special projects? Why have members of our class received 2 Kirkendall Service Awards, 5 Distinguished Alumni Awards, and 6 Alumni Service Awards? Why does our class have 7 members of the Athletic Hall of Fame? This is not to say there weren't times while we were there as students when we ventured forth into the real world outside Mecklenburg County, looking for a little R&R or to make a bigger impact on a bigger stage. Judith, can you move a couple more slides, please? Thank you. But while we were at Davidson, we were guided by the faculty. Some of us were led kicking and screaming by the faculty. But we spent 4 years in our Southern enclave learning and maturing. We all faced a number of personal hurdles, but we were always guided by the honor code and the foundation of integrity and values that Davidson built within us. This is particularly true as we have carried on our lives in service to others. It would take many, many pages to list the myriad of things our classmates have done in service to our communities, our country, and our fellow men and women. If you read carefully the individual profiles of the 50th anniversary Quips and Cranks, you will be amazed at the selflessness and service exhibited by our fellow classmates. Coach Bob McKillop said in our recent basketball Zoom program, and you can enjoy the program online if you haven't already seen it. Coach McKillop talked about how special Davidson is and how fortunate he has been to have had a 31-year career here. He talked about the history of the Davidson basketball program and the legendary names associated with it. Lefty Driesell, Terry Holland, and he was joined on the program by our own legends, Doug Cook, Jerry Kroll, and Jamie May. What he had to say about Davidson itself was as meaningful as anything he said about basketball. He said that those who go to Davidson wear a badge of honor, that Davidson is the most unique school in the country. It has academic rigor as well as integrity. Our honor code is unique. He said that the Davidson student body is on a quest for excellence that is extraordinary, and that the alumni are great ambassadors for Davidson who have dared to challenge mediocrity and pursue excellence. McKillop feels that Davidson alumni leave a part of themselves at the school, and that part remains, and the part that remains is like a torch that burns brighter year after year. Can we go to the very end? There we go. This is not to say that the great class of 1970 is without a good dose of well-deserved humility. These reminders were often pointed out to us by the one and only Will Terry. Will was always ready to help keep us grounded when we got a bit too full of ourselves. It was Will, after all, who dubbed us the self-described great class of 1970. Granted, Davidson, as a highly selected college, has an abundance of talented, thoughtful, scholarly, and committed people that make up its student body in every class. I like to think that the great class of 1970 has a special place in the history of alma mater. Back to you, Gary.
Thank you, Tom, for those wonderful words and passing the collection basket, which is an integral and essential part of being part of the great class of 1970. I'm going to try to ease everybody out as we're right on schedule. Bear with me. I call this a Linda Lux Ubi Orta Libertas. I don't know that I ever read that on Chambers Building while I was there. If I probably know the translation. I've got my own interpretation, which is that education flourishes where liberty has taken root. You can close your eyes, you can pop a brewski, have a glass of wine, you will not be tested on this material. I just want to give you some things to think about until we gather hopefully in June or April or whenever it is. In no particular order. The cake race, Camp Carolina, 8 o'clock Saturday classes, which for football players, when you traveled out of town, was an unexcused absence. Compulsory chapel, the Thornton sisters, basement of chambers, Tony Abbott, Tommy T. Bird Clark, Greer Martin, Fraternity Rush, Cook, Kroll, Malloy, Postma, DeMoisey, Murphy, Lyles, Sam Maloney, Skull Bailey, Klaus Kleberg, and his famous pods of Jell-O that were essential in any serious food fight in the Union. ROTC Drill, The Anchor, sold out Charlotte Coliseum basketball games, routine. A Murray's toasted egg salad and orangeade at M&M, the post office, the laundry. You can tell your wife, girlfriend, or children your laundry number now. I bet you still know it. Bub Cashin, the American Legion hut in Cornelius, the Righteous Brothers, and Dionne Warwick in one weekend. Davidson, I thought Davidson was a little podunk school down in North Mecklenburg until homecoming of 1966. Queens, Salem, Converse, Hollins, Sweetbriar, UNCG, Vardell Hall, and the Mercy Nurses. The College Bowl, the Tangerine Bowl, Harry Goldman's Porcelain Bowl, Dr. Purcell, The Cellar, Marburg, and Montpellier. Did I get that right? Hattie's, Dave's Night, up the road.
You got Hattie's right.
Good. Whataburger Betty, Humanities in the Dome Room. I never ventured up that high. I'm like so many of you said, you were so grateful for Humanities when I saw one of you coming back with 2 large grocery bags full of books. In addition to everything else, I was sort of glad I was not picked for or qualified for Humanities. Dr. Bernard, George Laban, Freshman Hall Counselors, Blue Sky, CRAP, the Spencer Commission, Richardson Fellows, the Fox Drive-In, Homer Smith, the Grim Baker, Ian and Sylvia, twice. Sunday afternoon combo parties on the back porch of the fraternity houses. Snowstorms on campus. We used to have snow in Mecklenburg County. John Zaharoff's nightly salute to Ken Hill. The Warena Marina. Zippy the Chimp. Really? I missed that one. Garth Hampton and Dave Thompson's 37-day or night consecutive trip to Queens College. True dedication. Eastern Regionals, twice. Slade to Kelly, Slade to Hannon, Slade to Hill. Colonel Outlaw, Cora Nelson, Tom Couch. The Honor Code, Aries Cabin, Woodstock, Cambodia. The Draft Lottery, white armbands at our graduation. Will Terry, Will Terry, Will Terry. Carl Garrison, Gil Holland. Food fights in the Union with the Klaus Jello pods. Dr. Olin Puckett. Doc Woods. Dave Fagg. Charlie Lloyd. Cocktails 101 and 102 with Chalmers Davidson. Chuck Jackson, Kent State, Lefty's Stomp, the Purple Penguin in Charlotte, the Open Kitchen, which I can tell you is still open, Tom the Bomb Stevens, the View from Duke Dorm Roof Parties, Chicago, in Love Auditorium, right before we left to venture out into the world. Thanks for the memories, Davidson College. Thanks for some incredible fun times, quality education, and a wonderful experience. And now let me finally conclude with a toast. It's my prayer that we all have stout walls against the wind, a sure roof to keep out the rain, warm tea or some other beverage beside the fire, and the enduring love and laughter of those we hold dear for all of our remaining days on this earth. I want to thank all of you fellow classmates for attending this virtual reunion. I'm given to understand that some slides, the similar slide presentation that preceded the reunion will be running for some period of time. And I think you can, Judith may tell me this, or Teddy, can they still communicate through the Zoom conference for a time, Teddy or Judith?
Yes, so Gary and everyone, thank you for your comments this evening, and we'll turn it back to Gary for any final ones. When he is finished, we certainly want to encourage everyone. Now you can just unmute yourself. It might be a little loud, but if you want to try to chat with someone, you're welcome to do so. We recognize that this is a fun chance to do so. You may want to change your computers to gallery view, and you can see all the folks on the call. And we would love for you to stay on and chat with one another for a few minutes more, should you like. And again, want to thank everyone for being a part of the program. Gary, any final words as our MC for the evening?
No, thank you for asking me to be involved, and I look forward to seeing everybody live on campus.
All right, well, we encourage you to unmute, change your speaker view to gallery view, and enjoy one another's company as best you're able.
Gary got one name to add to your great list there. The guy who made all those concerts happen was Shaw Smith.
Yeah.
Yep.
C. Shaw Smith.
Yes. He's the guy who connected with all those entertainers. It's amazing.
And Bill Traxler.
Hey, Jim McAdams and Carl Bachnight and Jim Winship. This is Tad Loudermilk.
Good to see you, Tad. You're looking good and healthy.
So are you.
Jim, is that your Christmas tree?
Oh, Saunders. Yes, it is. How you doing, Rick?
Good.
Hey, Dave.
All the talk about Will Terry makes me remember that he married me the first time, and it didn't take. But Bob Dunham married me the second time, and it's still going strong. Thank you, Bob.
Some of you know, this is Bill Cockrell. I now live in Davidson at the Pines, the retirement center here. And one of my good neighbors is Ralph Quackenbush. And it has been a joy to converse with Ralph, and he has great memories of the great class of 70. And so I haven't asked him about this, but I'm passing on his salutations to the members of this class. He remembers it fondly. And one of the great things about coming back to Davidson and living at the Pines is getting to know some of these people like Sam Maloney and Max Polly and Tony Abbott. Some of you know, I'm sure you know that we lost Tony a month or so ago. But to know these people as friends and not merely as professors, and to know them as a mature adult, it's just a great pleasure. Now, I don't advocate you move to Davidson. It's getting far too crowded, but it's a great place to live, and it's a great joy to have this opportunity to be around these people that we knew in another way.
Cockrell.
Quackenbush kept me alive on his grilled cheese sandwiches and egg salad sandwiches, because I never got to breakfast so fast.
For those of you who remember Ralph Quackenbush, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. Has he talked to you, Bill, about the grease fires?
No, he's just talked to me about how difficult it was to run the hub.
Yeah. I mean, he had a miserable time there. His real love was furniture and furniture making, and he did that, and he actually set up shop in Davidson, restoring furniture and making new furniture.
Ralph's had many careers. Some of you may know he actually had a late career as an actor in the community theater here.
That's right. And Bill, I'm on the Pines list, so
okay. Well,
you're not going to get off the hook.
If I may ask a question and say a few words, I'm Carrie Tucker. I live in Chicago and wonder if any of you all live nearby. It's delightful to recognize so many of you. I had wondered, in particular, Robert Pyatt I saw once after graduation up in, oh good God, near
Northwest Minnesota.
Northwest Minnesota. Joe Jones, with whom I roomed my sophomore year, Pierce Irby, who was on my floor in my freshman year. I'm missing others, and I'll have to skim through. And I wonder how come you all look so old.
That's right. Except you.
David Sweat, you sold me my first car, 62 Rambler American. Drove that damn thing out to Chicago and back to the East Coast about half a dozen times. That's how I learned how to fix cars for a living. Held me in good stead. So thank you all for coming. It's not my event, but I greatly appreciate seeing you all. And do any of you all live in the Midwest?
No.
I think so.
None of you? How about the West Coast?
Why?
Why what?
Would you live in the Midwest? I lived in Minneapolis for 7 years. It was enough.
Okay, there you go.
Or California.
Pardon me?
Or why would anybody want to live in California either?
Oh, are you kidding me? I enjoyed California when I was living there.
Well, on the subject,
I'm not. There's nothing invidious to my question. I just wonder whether you all are within a day's road trip of Chicago. That's the point of my question.
Well, that's good.
on the subject of aligning geography, I see Harry Truman Goldman's here, and I'm wondering with all the storms this year if waterproof is still waterproof.
Well, we fared fairly well, but you know, enough is enough.
Well, guys,
I always think of you, Harry, when I see those storms coming in.
Well, I appreciate it.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
Greg.
I'm Bourdain Lee. I just wanted to reintroduce myself to you guys. A lot of wonderful years at Davidson. I was Jim Lee then, at least by name, not personality. I'm glad we remembered Shaw Smith, and I loved my time on the union board. I loved sailing for Davidson College and a little bit of soccer, but I mainly just thank God for meeting so many incredibly gifted and inspiring people for those 4 years. And I don't know what I did to deserve it, but it's probably among the most important things in my life. Oh, also St. Albans and the crowd over there too. Take care.
It's great to have you on the call, Ann.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Brown Patterson. Yeah, that's who I meant to say. And George and I were little guys in Chapel Hill. We didn't know we'd end up at Davidson together.
No, we didn't. Freshman hall together, yeah.
You all look great, by the way.
Thanks.
Somebody was talking about looking old, and life is not fair because Hemrick and Goldman and Norwood and Patterson and how come they haven't changed a bit, and the rest of us, for most of us, it's hard to recognize each other.
Yeah. Hey, at least I've still got a mustache.
Your initials.
Is Norman Carey among you?
Yes, yes, I'm right here.
I wanted to ask you, you had a great interest in military history, and I wonder if you made a profession out of that.
As a matter of fact, I did. I wound up as a museum curator for the Army for 11 and a half years and the Navy for 17 and a half years.
I'll be
help run their museum operations.
Okay, great.
Hey,
great.
Rick Saunders.
What about?
Are you in Huntersville?
No, I'm in Greensboro now.
You were in Huntersville.
Yeah, I was in Huntersville. Now I'm in Greensboro hanging around with Cooper.
All right. Just
And
checking.
Joe Carr.
So that's where I am, in Huntersville.
Yeah.
So it's amazing we didn't meet or get together.
Yeah, I was there for 5 years.
What
Yeah,
years?
You're doing fine that Huntersville has gotten so big that you can't know who lives there anymore.
I used to see Tommy Norwood in the bars a lot, though.
Rick, when were you there? When were you in Huntersville?
I was not 1990 to 1995.
Okay, well, I wasn't here until 93, so
Yeah.
that's one reason.
Well, I get to Huntersville 3 to 4 weekends a year. I work at the Carolina Renaissance Festival. Play the tuba in the brass choir there.
Okay.
We have some other folks from Huntersville. I actually live in Huntersville now and have had a house here since 1977.
Where, Calvin?
Hey, Calvin. I'm in Westminster Park, which is really on the periphery of the incorporated area.
What's the roads or streets?
Westminster Drive, it's right off of Mount Holly, Huntersville Road.
Okay, that's down my territory.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I moved, I drove by farms. Now there are no farms.
That's right.
Murph, you still haven't lost your voice.
When I do, I'll be 6 feet under. Otherwise, I'll keep trying.
We'd recognize you anywhere.
Thanks, Harry.
Calvin, you lived in Charlotte for a long time, didn't you?
I was born in Charlotte.
Yeah.
And when I came back to this area, after I finished law school, I actually bought this house that I'm in now and rebuilt it about 5 years ago. So I've decided it's better to stay put.
Good for you.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, this is Jim McAdams. I got to make a pitch.
Yeah.
Would you all please start sending me stuff about you? I get 515 words about every 3 or 4 months. And sometimes I'm really struggling to fill that, but I'd love to hear news about all of what you're up to.
Hey, Jim, can we send you stuff about somebody else?
Yeah, that was my question. I'll send you bad stuff about Joe Carr.
Yeah. Absolutely. Send me anything you have.
Does it have to be?
Here's
true?
Joker.
And it doesn't have to be true even.
That's right.
Do you want 100 words?
Yeah, Kelly and Kaufman can send you stuff about each other.
We've been through it all.
Unfortunately, Joe Carr doesn't know really how to use a computer yet. I tried to get him last week onto this, but failed. So.
He does not own a cell phone. Joker does not own a cell phone.
He's got a flip phone.
Oh, he's now got a flip phone. Okay.
So do I.
Well, we're all easing into the 21st century. At a different rate.
Yeah, Kelly, I thought you had a dial phone, you know. So.
Jerry Withrow, Glenn Withrow was your brother. You and he lived on a trailer outside.
Right. Glenn started at Davidson 2 years before us, and he took 2 years in the Peace Corps in Peru.
Yeah.
in Peru and then moved back for his last 2 years. So he finished in our class, but he identifies with the class of 68 more.
He's doing well.
He's
still
doing well.
among us?
Yeah, he was in, he finally ended up going to med school and family medicine, and we had a clinic together in Chapel Hill for a number of years.
Oh,
But
good for you all. You retired now?
yeah, he's retired. He's doing quite well. Yeah, I just
Good.
saw him the other day.
Good.
I see Danny White on the call. I haven't seen him since we were on the bar leadership circuit years and years ago. And
It was a lot of fun.
It was.
Yeah.
We noted that bar leadership at that time, of all the states represented in the Southeast, 5, I think, Danny, were all Davidson graduates.
5 were serving on that leadership track, all
Yeah.
Davidson people.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Was.
You still practicing, Calvin?
No, I am not. I've retired fully now.
I
How about you, Danny?
Danny,
I'm
he's
still 70 hours a week. I just enjoy it more than I ever have. Really enjoy it.
Still playing golf, Danny?
A little bit, yeah.
Hey, Danny, didn't you used to have blonde hair?
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit brown now.
Okay, just wanted to make sure you were the same Danny.
I did not get out in the sun.
Kelly used to have hair.
I still got more than
I
Wright.
was getting too much on it, so thank you for stepping up on that one. So.
I still have more than Wright does. And George. I got more than George does too.
Well, everybody does.
This is my buzz cut, my COVID cut. Cut it all off.
George, how's Carol?
She's doing great. Y'all, Richard Howard was the one that introduced Carol and me. So thank you, Richard, for making my life wonderful. We're going to have our 50th.
Yeah, that's better. That's good. Thanks.
We're going to have our 50th wedding anniversary next year.
George, I hear Carol went bicycle riding with Kelly Wade yesterday.
She did. She did. That's right. You know, small world. Y'all, there's more than one person. The waterproof is a big world. There are lots of people in Harry's world that are good friends of ours up here.
Where is up
George?
Live?
We're in
George.
Jackson, Mississippi. We've been here 30 years.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yep.
Well, you moved around a little while.
We did, but when we came here, the kids were young, and we promised them we wouldn't move, and we retired here, and so I'm a Mississippian now.
That's good.
Richard Howard, Charlie Newton.
Charlie, how you doing?
I was up your way at Cape Ann a couple of years ago and tried to leave you a message. I guess it didn't get through, but you still on Cape Ann?
I'm in Gloucester in the summer and Ipswich in the winter. I'm in Ipswich.
Like a fit.
You did it too quick.
It's beautiful but cold in the winter.
You go there for your south trip?
Say that again?
You go there for your southern trip in the winter?
Gloucester?
Ipswich.
No, it's my northern trip.
He just likes the snow.
Yeah.
Good to see everybody. I'm checking out.
All right, Cal.
Yeah, I gotta run too. So long.
Tom
Thank
and
you.
George, thank you for everything you did to bring this together.
Listen, this has been fun, and we will all see each other in person sometime in the future. Thank you all.
We will.
Thank you.
Until that day, Maxwell. Until that day.
Blessings all.
Hey, see you tomorrow, right?
See you tomorrow, Kelly. We'll be
Hey,
at you,
right.
everybody. I know.
Enjoy this, everybody.
Yeah, thank
More
you.
than you know.
Thank you, Bert. Thanks, George.
Thank you for reading your email.
See you, Pierce.
Thanks to all the organizers.
Thanks, sir.
Thank y'all.
Bye-bye.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
again.
Bye-bye.
Right.
Let's